Lyra comes from a distant planet, where space and time are not bound by the rules of Earth. Her planet, Aeloria, lies beyond the reach of modern telescopes and space probes, hiding a mysterious world that only those capable of sensing the vastness of the universe can perceive. Lyra possesses a unique beauty, not one that humans can easily identify. Her skin is smooth and silver, her eyes shine brightly like the distant stars, and she carries a mysterious power from another dimension, something even the most learned scientists on Earth cannot explain. Gavin, a space science researcher on Earth, lives a mundane life in a small apartment in New York City. Every day, he immerses himself in scientific theories, endless cosmic data, and questions that have no answers. For him, the complexity of the universe is just a puzzle with no solution. But everything he knew, all those dry theories, changed one rainy night when Lyra appeared. That night, the rain poured heavily, and Gavin wandered through his thoughts, strolling down the quiet streets. A strange sound caught his attention, a sweet sound, like wind whispering through the silent space. When he approached, what he saw made him unable to believe his eyes. A strange spaceship, glowing with silver light, was parked right in the center of the city. Gavin's eyes widened, and from the spacecraft, a figure stepped out, Lyra. She stepped out of the darkness like a newly risen star. Her presence not only surprised him but made the air around her seem to stop. Her gaze was gentle yet full of power, not of a human, but of a being from another world, a world Gavin had never imagined. "Hello, Gavin," Lyra spoke, her voice soft and gentle, yet carrying an underlying strength, as if everything around her must adhere to a rule only she knew. When their eyes met, a strange connection surged between them, no words needed, no explanation required. Gavin felt something deep, something beyond anything he had learned, something he couldn't explain. But in that moment, he knew his life would never be the same again. The dark night cloaked New York City, the sky dotted with stars and clouds swirling into strange shapes. Gavin, a space science researcher, stood on the rooftop of his apartment, gazing into the sky, silently reflecting on his ongoing research projects. He had no idea that tonight would change his life forever. A faint sound echoed from afar. Gavin turned, intending to locate the source of the sound. And at that moment, the sky suddenly lit up. A strange light descended from above, forming a beam that pierced the darkness. It wasn't a shooting star or an astronomical phenomenon he had studied, it was a spaceship. A spacecraft of completely different design, its smooth, unusual lines shining with radiant light from every corner. The ship landed softly on an open field, just meters away from where Gavin stood. He felt his heart race, blood rushing to his head, not out of fear, but from an inexplicable sensation. He approached the spacecraft, gripping the railing, unsure whether to approach it or not. The door of the spacecraft opened, and a soft breeze wafted out, carrying a strange scent, fresh like plants after a rainfall. Lyra appeared in the doorway. Gavin couldn't help but be astonished. She stood there as though from another world, with silver skin shimmering in the light from the spacecraft, large eyes of soft blue, glowing brightly. Her features were sharp yet gentle, and her lips, thin and poised, seemed ready to smile at any moment. The entire space seemed to shift, and time appeared to stand still as Gavin stood face to face with her. She stood there silently, not moving, as though waiting for something. Gavin could feel a strong presence emanating from her, an energy he couldn't comprehend. Everything within him seemed to halt. He could only stare at her, unable to tear his eyes away from her figure, from the magical light she brought with her. Then, Lyra spoke, her voice as soft as a breeze. "Hello, Gavin," she said, causing him to startle. Gavin couldn't utter a word, only staring at her, trying to gather his scattered thoughts. Each word she spoke seemed to fill the space around him, as if each sound had a profound impact on his emotions. She continued, "My name is Lyra, from the planet Aeloria." Gavin couldn't believe what he had just heard. His mouth went dry, and his eyes widened as he couldn't take his eyes off her. How could she know his name? And where was Aeloria? "How do you know me?" Gavin asked, his voice full of skepticism but also an undeniable curiosity growing inside him. Lyra smiled, her gaze sparkling like the stars lighting up the dark night. "We've been watching you. You're the only one who can help us understand the emotions between different species." Her words made Gavin feel like he was falling into an unimaginable story. He couldn't determine if he should trust her, but something inside him told him this wasn't a dream. The sensation of her allure, and the powerful energy she radiated kept him mesmerized. Lyra moved closer, her steps silent and graceful. "I understand that you may not believe me right away, Gavin. But I am not here just to learn about you. I am here to learn about love, about the emotions that you have built your world upon. We need your help." She stood closer now, her eyes sparkling with curiosity and belief. Gavin felt an unusual tremor within him, as though an unspoken connection was forming between them. "I don't know if I can help you, but..." Gavin hesitated, unable to find the right words to express the emotions stirring inside him. Lyra didn't wait for him to finish, she stepped even closer, reducing the distance between them to just a few centimeters. She said nothing, only looked at him with determination and seriousness. Gavin could feel his heart racing, as if he had just entered a completely new realm where nothing followed any rule he had ever known. Just a little more, the light from the spacecraft illuminated the area, and all the magical sensations of this encounter seemed to intensify. Could this be destiny? An encounter that would change his life forever? Or was this just a dream that he couldn't wake up from? As time passed, Gavin and Lyra began spending more time together. Their conversations about culture, about the differences between her planet and Earth, created an inexplicable bond. At first, Gavin had seen Lyra as nothing more than a strange creature from another world. But now, he realized that she was not just a cold extraterrestrial being, she was someone with deep, powerful emotions, just like the humans he had known. She felt sorrow, happiness, understanding, and especially loved the very thing that Lyra was seeking, and it brought them even closer. On peaceful evenings, when Gavin sat alone in his apartment, he would look up at the sky, pondering everything that had happened. Could he be the one to help Lyra find the answers to the love she was searching for? Could this connection between them become something even deeper? One evening, as the city lights shone brightly below, Gavin and Lyra sat together in silence. The stars twinkled in the sky like small jewels, creating an atmosphere full of mystery. Lyra sat beside him, her eyes reflecting the light from the city and distant stars. She looked at Gavin, her gaze shining as if it held an entire world that words could never describe. "I feel something strange inside me, Gavin," Lyra said softly, her voice like a whisper in the dark. "A strong connection, something I have never felt before. It's like a part of me has found a part of you." Gavin didn't say anything, just looked into her eyes. He could feel the change in the air. The connection between them was growing stronger. He could feel the longing in her eyes, as if he was feeling his own desire reflected back at him. It was a strange sensation, hard to name, but it made him unable to look away from her. The urge to touch her, to be closer to her, grew stronger with each passing moment. Lyra slowly lifted her hand, her eyes studying him carefully, as though she was trying to understand her own emotions. She gently touched Gavin's hand, and he felt a surge of energy pass through him from her touch. A warmth, yet also a power, as if a part of her soul was connecting with his. "Gavin," Lyra said, her voice low and husky. "I have never felt love like this. On Aeloria, we don't experience emotions like this. Love is a foreign concept to us, because we were all designed not to feel emotional bonds. But with you, I feel something I cannot explain. A strong connection." Gavin stared at her, and inside him, an unfamiliar feeling rose. He couldn't put it into words, but he felt something bigger than any reason urging him on. The bond between them wasn't just about understanding, it was about emotions that couldn't be explained with words. He wanted to be with her, to touch her, to explore everything blooming in his heart. The emotions between them burned brightly in the quiet space, with no words needed anymore. Gavin turned to face her, his eyes shining in the dim light. "Lyra," he whispered, "this feeling. I can't explain it. You come from a strange world, but I feel like we can understand each other. There's something between us. Something powerful, and I can't walk away from this feeling." Lyra smiled softly, then slowly moved closer to him, her eyes never leaving his for a second. The air seemed to grow heavier, charged with heat, and then, she lowered her head, gently pressing her lips to his. A kiss sweet and intoxicating. It was unlike any kiss Gavin had ever experienced. It was deeper, full of strange and exhilarating emotions that he couldn't resist. When they pulled apart, Lyra's gaze still held him, her eyes filled with longing. "I don't know if this is love, but it feels so real." Gavin swallowed hard, his heart racing. The feeling was like a wave crashing through his body. A sensation so powerful he couldn't fight it. He looked into Lyra's bright eyes, feeling the irresistible allure, the bond they had shared, a connection that was deep and unbreakable. "Maybe we're just beginning," Gavin said, his voice husky with emotion. "But I feel like this is something bigger, something I can't ignore." They stood still in a space, where nothing existed but the light of distant stars and the connection of two hearts beating as one. The love between Gavin and Lyra was no longer something foreign, it had become a magical reality, a journey they had to explore together, despite all the differences between their worlds. As the days went by, Gavin and Lyra realized that the feelings between them were not just a connection between distant stars but something deeper, a strong bond that they couldn't explain in words. They could no longer take their eyes off each other, unable to stop when they were together. The sensation was intense and sweet, undeniable. That evening, After a long day filled with tense meetings and discussions about the cooperation between Earth and Aeloria, Gavin and Lyra sat on the balcony of the apartment, gazing at the sparkling stars above. Their gentle light cast a mystical, peaceful ambience. The cool night air made Lyra shiver, and Gavin, unable to resist the strong urge building inside him, stood up and wrapped his arm around her. This feeling, Lyra began, but couldn't find the words to describe what she was experiencing. I can't understand it, but I can't stop. Everything feels different when I'm near you. Gavin stared into her eyes, those eyes reflecting the light from the stars, making the space between them come alive. He raised his hand and gently took hers, and the connection in that moment made everything else around them seem to blur. I feel the same, Lyra, he said, his voice rough with emotion. I don't know if this is love or not, but I know one thing for sure, I can't live without you. Lyra couldn't take her eyes off him, a new and intense feeling rising within her. An emotion that couldn't be explained with any words. She moved closer, their eyes locking in a silence that felt sweet and electric. She couldn't resist the urge in her heart. The air around them seemed to stop, leaving only intertwined emotions and the soft breath of both of them. Everything around them seemed to vanish in this moment. Lyra placed her hand on Gavin's shoulder, her eyes sparkling, no longer hesitant. And when her lips touched his, a wave of powerful emotion surged. The kiss wasn't just a touch. It was the union of two souls, two alien worlds, yet perfectly in tune with an emotion they couldn't stop. The kiss between Gavin and Lyra was like a soft explosion, making the space around them feel like it was bursting into an emotional storm. Gavin felt his body igniting, unable to stop once it had begun. It felt as if a part of him was melting into her, and vice versa. Lyra felt as if something was unlocking in her heart. When they pulled apart, both of them were breathing heavily. Lyra looked at Gavin, her eyes full of wonder but also satisfaction, as if she had just discovered something she could never have imagined before. Gavin, I've never felt anything like this before. Everything seems to be changing, and I don't know what to do with it. Lyra whispered, her voice as gentle as the night breeze. Gavin looked into her eyes, unable to hide the overwhelming emotions rising inside him. I don't know what to do either, Lyra. But I know one thing, we can't miss this. Lyra moved closer again, her lips nearly touching his, and this time, it wasn't a slow kiss, but a deep immersion. A kiss filled with passion, as if everything they needed had already been found in each other. When they pulled apart, there was complete silence. No words were left, only the feeling of two souls now united as one. Gavin looked at Lyra with eyes full of passion. We may not understand everything that's happening between us, but I don't want to miss a single moment of this. I want to explore everything we can create together. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with contentment. So do I, Gavin. I don't know where we'll go from here, but I feel we've started a journey that no one can stop. They stood in silence, gazing out, the light of distant stars reflecting in their eyes. A new world was opening before them, a journey they had to walk together, with all the challenges and emotions that love could bring. And from this moment on, nothing could stop them. As the days went by, Gavin and Lyra's relationship became increasingly solid, like the distant stars in the universe, forever bound in a space beyond time and place. They not only learned about each other's cultures and the differences between their worlds, but also discovered how they could exist together amidst those differences. Lyra, from the planet Aeloria, could easily read Gavin's most hidden emotions, something that Gavin had always found strange, and at times, even frightening. She understood his fears, his worries about their future, and the love that was blossoming between them, a love that transcended the boundaries of worlds. A love they couldn't explain, but one that was undeniably real. Gavin, on the other hand, was the only one who could help Lyra understand emotions she had never grasped. Their love, though new, was becoming deeper and more enduring with each passing day. Every morning, when they woke up next to each other, they could feel the amazing harmony between them that words couldn't describe. Gavin's arm wrapped around Lyra's body, her eyes tenderly gazing at him, and the world outside seemed to be a quiet part of the vast universe they were living in. They didn't need many words, the silence between them was enough to feel the connection stronger than any spoken language. One evening, when the moonlight illuminated the night sky, Lyra and Gavin sat next to each other, hands intertwined, gazing into the endless space. The soft glow from the stars surrounding them created a magical scene, making everything seem still, leaving only the soft breaths of both of them. Lyra turned to look at Gavin, her eyes filled with depth, as if there was something she needed to say but couldn't keep inside. "Gavin," she whispered, her voice low and warm, "can we create a new world together? A place where we don't have to hide this feeling? A place where our love can exist without the fear of the differences between species?" Gavin could feel the sincerity and fear in her words. He tightly held her hand, feeling an incredible harmony between them, as if they had overcome all the challenges to sit here, in this moment, together. He looked into Lyra's eyes, and in them, he saw the entire universe, the wonder of a love he had never dared to dream of. "Lyra, if we are together, we can change the entire universe," Gavin replied, his voice filled with determination. "Not just politically, but in how every being can live in harmony with each other. Our love can be the beginning of a world where differences are no longer barriers." The emotions between them surged. Lyra reached up and gently touched Gavin's face, her eyes shining brightly, and for the first time since they met, she felt a complete trust in the future. All they needed was a new beginning, a space where they could build a life unbound by prejudices. "We will create that world," Lyra said, her voice ringing with certainty. "We will not only change our lives, but the lives of other species as well. We will be the guiding light for those who believe that love transcends all differences." Gavin smiled, pulling her closer, their lips meeting in a kiss, gentle yet intense. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise, a commitment to each other, a vow that they would never give up on what they were building. Under the starlit sky, they felt that this universe belonged to them, and together, they would paint a new picture, a picture of love, of harmony between species. No more discrimination. No more fear. Only love, and a new world they would create together. New and full of hope. After many challenges and indescribable emotional moments, Gavin and Lyra decided to continue their journey together. Not only because of love but also because they believed that the connection between species could change everything. They were not just a love story between a human from Earth and an alien from another planet, but a symbol of a grand hope for a harmonious world. A world where love is not limited by borders, culture, or species. Together, they explored the vastness of space, pushing beyond the limits humanity had never dared to imagine. With each journey, each step they took, they not only learned about each other but also about themselves, about emotions and abilities that had never been revealed before. They knew that while the world outside could still be full of challenges, as long as they were together, nothing was impossible. Under the starry sky, in the infinite space, Lyra and Gavin walked hand in hand, saying little, but their hearts understood each other. Their love, a groundbreaking and different kind of love, not only proved that nothing was impossible but also affirmed that when hearts truly merge, all barriers become insignificant. And so, they began to write an unprecedented love story, not just for themselves but for other species as well, where love truly could transcend all boundaries.